Click on the Clients button on the toolbar or select Clients from under the PrintQuote Pro menu. And this will display the output layout for the client file. To import existing client records into PrintQuote Pro, the records will need to be in a text file. And here is an example text file. We have the first row as the column headers and the fields of the database. Then we click on Import Client Records. And we select the file, open the file, and the first row is imported into the File Fields column in the dialog box. Now what we have to do is match up the fields that are available in the database with those in the file fields. So we can either select them and click right button to move them across, or we can double click on them. As so. We have the option of choosing the field delimiter. We've used Excel's default, which is tab for a field and return for a record, but you can use others if required. The paragraph text field return delimiter replaces if we're using return as a record delimiter, we can't have a return in any text fields that are being imported, otherwise they'll be seen to be the end of the record and cause all sorts of problems importing the data. So we can use a delimiter for the actual returns that are in the paragraphs of text being imported. We can also select for PrintQuote Pro to generate ID codes as they're imported. We also have the option of selecting first row as column titles, in which case this file is. So by selecting that, we won't cause a record to be created from the file headers. We can ask it to update existing records, and when we do that, the phone numbers will be compared. And then if they already exist, they'll just replace the records, otherwise new records will be created. The fields have a qualifier. Sometimes when we get data from other data sources, the fields have inverted commas around the text to identify them. So if we select that, they'll be removed when we import the data. The checkbox format email and web addresses, make sure they are all lowercase when they're imported, just in case they've been uppercase or a mixture in the data that you're importing. Then once you're ready, click OK. You'll be asked if you wish to clear the import info field prior to importing, and that will remove any data anywhere in the client records that's in the import info field. If we go no, we'll be asked to type in identifying information for the import info field. Click OK. And then 9 records were updated and 0 client records were added. So all of these clients existed in the database prior to importing them. Now we called the import info new records, we could actually go in and search for those records if they get mixed in with the rest of the records. So if we go all records, and we go search, and then we go new records, and do search, we can then find the records we just imported using our search dialog and the import info field. You can also export the clients from PrintQuote Pro to a text file. The Export Clients button opens a dialog box that allows you to choose the field you wish to export to disk as a text file. Also, again, we can choose the field delimiter and the record delimiters. We'll use the default tab and return, and then we'll choose the fields we wish to export. Then we can choose first row is column title, and we can choose to put qualifiers, but we won't because we have tabs. So now we click OK to export the information, and then we give the file a name and it'll be exported. If we go to Excel, we can view the file. So we'll go to Excel, choose Open, open the file we exported, tab Delimiters, and there's the data we exported. So if you need any of your client information for another program, or for some other reason, you can export it straight out of PrintQuote Pro. The delete button allows us to select records using the control key and clicking on records. And if you wish to delete them, just click yes and they'll be deleted from the database. The search button opens the search dialog, and you can search by the main fields of the client. Most field options will be obvious. The code drop down is the installation code set in the Preferences 1 tab of the Preferences dialog box that identifies which installation of PrintQuote Pro the client was using to enter client details. If you were searching for a company starting with FUT, then you would just type FUT into the company field and click Do Search. We have two companies that start with FUT. If you were looking for some information that was within the company name, prefix it with the % sign. Do search. We have 15 companies that have a name that includes UT. Then we click Show to show those, and we'll see here we've got UT in different parts of the name. Clients can also be searched by a keyword. If you click on the ellipsis button, a list of all keywords that are associated with the client file will be displayed. So we can choose one of those. Then we have 4 records that have unsubscribers as a keyword. We can also search the list of keywords if there's a large number of keywords associated with the clients. Type in the criteria, click find, and then that will be displayed, and we can select that. Go OK, do search. We find there's one record that has that keyword attached to it. Clients can also be searched by their relationship to either quotes or jobs. If you wish to search for clients by information stored in their quotes or jobs, you need to select the relevant radio button. Search quotes for clients or search job for clients. We can enter in the ID, the salesperson, the quote keyword or job keyword, part of the job description, and the status of the job. We can also look at whether a quote was converted to a job or not converted to a job, and whether it is an active client or an inactive client. Or we can search a client if they've been unused, in other words they haven't had a quote or job done yet for them. And those fields are the same when we select quotes or jobs. We can search all records in the data file or just the current selection that's been displayed on the screen. The clear button will clear all the variables and criteria out of the dialog. And as we've seen already, the do search button does the search with the current criteria. When you want to show those records, once you know how many are found, then you can click the show button and the records that fit that criteria will be displayed in the output screen. The sort button will open the sort dialog box so you can choose a field to sort by and whether or not it is ascending or descending. We can move a field from the available fields to the sort field by selecting it and clicking the move right button or double clicking on it. We can change the direction by choosing that field and clicking in the direction column. So ascending company, so. Descending companies is so. We can also sort the clients by clicking on the header. So that'll just sort that particular field, ascending or descending. But if we want to sort by more fields than just one, we can use the sort dialog. If we want to make a number of records a current selection, we can hold down the control key and click on them and then click the use button, and they'll become the current selection. If we want to omit records from the current selection, we can first select them using the control key and click omit, and they'll be removed from the current selection. All makes all the records in the file a current selection. We click create client to create a new client, or we select a record and click modify to modify an existing record, and all the information will be loaded into the dialog. To send an email to a number of clients, we first make the selection of records. And then we click on send email, and we'll be asked if we wish to include the contacts of those particular companies as well. If we say yes, The email dialog box opens with a list of all the email addresses that are going to be sent this particular email. We can choose a campaign to send to them, or we can type in an actual message. The email address is the email address of the account through which we're going to send the request for these emails to be sent out. The mail server, the username. We can also include an unsubscribe address if we've got a campaign and a link on that. We can also attach documents by clicking the attach button to add them. And we can also select keywords to be attached to the clients when these emails are sent. And then once we're ready and we've chosen the campaign we want to send, we click Send Emails. And we'll see the status here as the emails are being sent. At the moment we have two processes working at once, and they're working in pairs. We can increase the number of processes if we wish to send them faster. If we have them too fast, sometimes some of them fail, so it's best to keep that as a minimum. So notice we're using two processes and two are sent at the same time to the server. Then they'll be processed later by the server. So all of the emails went successfully to the server, and now the server will process them and we can go back to using PrintQuote Pro. And click Done when you're finished. To send an SMS to this group of clients, we click on the Send SMS button. And again, we'll be asked if we wish to send those, and we'll be asked whether or not we want to send the SMS message to the contacts of those clients as well. We shall. And all of those numbers of all the contacts, primary and secondary contacts, will be included in that list. We can choose to merge a field from the contact or the client. Then we choose the person who it's being sent from, and this list is created in the Email SMS tab of the Preferences dialog. And we can choose to remove records so that we only send it, we don't have to send it to all of these people. We can remove some of them and leave others there. So we'll choose 2 people to send them to. Then we choose the sender email account from our list of accounts that have been entered into the Email SMS tab. And we can also send a keyword and attach this keyword to the client records once the SMS message has been sent. Add the date and time, click OK. Then we click Send SMS to send the SMS message to both those people. And we're asked if we wish to keep a copy of the message, so we shall. And the status is displayed at the bottom of the screen. Create Mail Merge Letter for Clients button facilitates the mail merging of a letter with the current selection of clients. A dialog box opens with the option to choose between a letter saved or a letter stored on disk. We'll choose a letter in the letter file. We now have the letter loaded in to the template section. Then we can choose to merge the client data into that particular letter. We were asked if we wish to make a page break after each client letter. We do, because we want them to be separate pages. And now we've created the mail merge of that letter with the client records. If we go to print preview, we'll be able to see the letter has been merged, and we can go to each 2, 3. There's 9 pages merged with 3 client records. All of the features here can be seen from the letter input screen. They're all the same values. The only addition we have here is we can add tags, and we can also merge the document with clicking on this button. The merged document can be saved as a PDF file, or it can be saved on disk. We just click exit to close the window. The template has not been modified, so we don't need to save it. We're asked if we wish to save the merged document to disk. If we don't want to save that, just click no. If we do, click yes and give it a name. If we go to all records and we click on the active clients button, all the active clients will be displayed. Here we have 98 out of the 107. If we click inactive clients, then the inactive clients will be displayed. They're in the database, but they're not currently being used, and we don't need them to be displayed every time we're working with current active clients. To make a client active or inactive, we can open the client and choose to make them inactive or active, or we can take a group of clients and choose make inactive or make active from the selection menu. Also on the selection menu we have many options that were also available from the buttons on the screen. We have all records, use selection, omit selection. We have the addition of invert selection, which removes the current selection from all records in the data file and so shows all those that weren't in the selection. We can delete selections, sort, search. We can also save sets of records. When records are saved as a set, a small text file is created using the sequence numbers of the records that are saved. So if we save a client set and we go and open that set, we'll see we have the unique sequence numbers of each of those records stored on disk. And at a later date, we can open the set by choosing Open Set under the menu, open the set, and it'll make that group of records the current selection. If we choose another group of records and make those another set, and yet another group of records, another set, we now have 3 sets saved to disk. So we can open each of those to make them the current selection, or we can add them to one another. So that we now have a selection that includes all of those sets, and now we can omit sets by selecting them. From the selection. So they are using the save set, open set, add set, omit set is a way we can store sets of records for a later reference, and we can manipulate those sets by using various combinations of those commands. We also have create new client, modify client. We can also create a delivery address and create a postal address for clients, but they will be required to have a complete address. So if we go create delivery address, we're asked if we wish to create a delivery address for these 3 records. If we go yes, clear the existing delivery address, if we open the record, we'll see a delivery address has been created. And if we have a separate postal address, we can get a postal address created. And there it's made from the postal address. So we can create the delivery address and the postal address from the commands under the selection menu. We can also format phone, fax and mobile numbers. If we've got imported data and the phone, fax or mobiles aren't formatted, well, we can use this command to automatically format the phone, fax and mobile numbers. We can also choose an action to apply to a group of selection of clients as well by using this command. And so now if we go in there, that action has been applied to those 3 records. We've already looked at making inactive or make active. That can be done to a selection of records all at once. And we can also clear the import info from the import info field of any selection of clients as well. Then we click done when we finish manipulating the client records.